Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Big Apple Baseball Banner. I'm Elias here, joined with my friend
Ben.
And we gotta work on our intro game a bit. But welcome back to the show. We talk all things Mets, Yankees, all things Major League Baseball. We got a pretty good show today to talk about. To start with, so our last first episode was about Rob Manfred, how he's kind of a moron and he's ruining the game. And
Doofus.
And in the beginning, we actually gave our boy Robbie some credit. We said the DH in the National League was great, especially from obviously I'm a Mets fan. I hate seeing pitchers swing a pool noodle at the plate, and
except when Bortolo's up.
Yeah, he made contact in like a million at bats the one time. So, I hate watching pitchers hit, and I also like having real hitters hit. So DH, that makes me really happy. So there's a rumor, I believe a Twins reporter who's verified, I think he has like 60,000 Twitter followers. He said that
I'll find him.
Yeah, it's going to be up to the and we'll flash a graphic on the screen of the tweet. He said that there's potential negotiations where it might go away. Now, why? The fact that this is going to go away and the damn 3-batter minimum, extended playoffs, and what's the other one? The runner on second base might stay. It's baffling, man. And this is how it affects the Mets. The Mets, for the first time in forever, they have an issue of having too many bats. Like, there's too many guys to fit in the lineup. Part of it is because you're paying some guys $1 million. Robin, or not obviously you're paying everyone $1 million. You're paying a guy a ton of money, so you're forced to play him. Robinson Cano, but he did have a good year last year. But
he had a great year.
Yeah, he had a really good year. But I'd rather see the younger guys. I was hoping we could try and trade him somewhere, just because I don't know if he's going to be able to do that for another 3 years or however long we have him.
That is very true.
So, but anyways, the Mets have an issue of they have too many bats. So coming in the season, your infield and outfield and catcher, it kind of looked like Ramos behind the plate, Alonso at first, Cano at second, Rosario at short, McNeil at third, Conforto in right, Nimmo in center, and JD Davis in left. Davis and McNeil ended up switching because Davis's left field defense was terrible. He ended up playing to the third base and was really good out there. And then Jeff McNeil's he's a really solid defender wherever he plays.
Oh, very solid.
And he's also a really good second base defensively. Not anything elite, but he's definitely his best position. But he can play everywhere. And then we had some other guys. So when the season started, everyone wanted to see Cespedes at DH. I thought that was stupid because Dom Smith had a good year the year before.
And plus, Cespedes, when has he had a good year recently? I mean, exactly. He was injured so long.
People expected him to come back from injury and just ball out. And then I was like, no, he's going to be gone after next year, so I want the young guy to play. And
get him ready.
God, he ended up opting out, and Smith came in and was, other than Conforto and DeGrom, he might be our best player this year. And
I can see that.
He might be a top 10 first baseman too. Like, that's how good of a year he had. I know it's only 60 games, but like, it's not only just counting stats. Like the percentiles and stuff were there. So, so you had to find a way to get him in the lineup. You had Andres Jimenez, which I think he's our shortstop moving forward, just because Rosario did not hit at all last year, and his defense.
Did he end up walking once throughout the season?
Yeah, it was like in the Yankee series at Yankee Stadium. That was his first walk of the year.
I remember that. Yeah. I remember that 3-2 pitch. I was
crazy.
So upset when that happened.
Yeah, the dugout was going crazy. It was quite the moment. I think there's talks about Rosario going out to center field just because we don't have a real center fielder. But then the issue is you gotta, if you're gonna have Jimenez,
put somebody at short.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have Jimenez at short,
obviously,
unless you trade for Lindor. But we'll get that to another day. But Jimenez, he's a great. And another thing about the DH is that this team sucks defensively, so you can kind of have some guys like Jimenez who maybe wouldn't be in the lineup, but now with a DH, you can you could put Dom Smith at first base. Pete Alonso's not a great defender at first base. He's not as bad as he was being advertised when he came up. Like, guys were, and he even admitted, yeah, I was pretty rough there. But Alonso ended up being primarily the DH this year with Smith at first. So it makes no sense. It's just going backwards. Maybe the Boomer fans like it, like we talked about, like bunting and double switches and sacrifices.
Fuck you, A-Rod.
I have a few things to say about A-Rod too coming up, but what are your thoughts about the DH, man?
I think it was great for baseball, and the idea that Manfred wants to get rid of it after, I think people were okay with it too. I hadn't heard of any negative backlash. There was nobody that was against the NLDH except for, like you said, Boomer fans, like the old people who are, used to seeing their way of baseball played as they were a kid. But that's not the baseball we have today.
Exactly.
Manfred's trying to, bring the game to kids. So if he wants to do that, you need more home runs and you need less strikeouts. You need more balls put in
more
play.
Offense, more balls put in play. Exactly. And the thing is, like, I think there has to be like a negotiation with the players union, which the majority of pitchers don't like hitting. Like Trevor Bauer's talked about it. Like he hates it. On a show. He said, "I hate hitting." And like Noah Syndergaard, he's considered a good hitting pitcher. He's a god awful hitter, but as a pitcher, I guess he's decent. He says, "Oh, like I don't really care. I just swing for the fences and hope for it to go out." Like these guys don't care. They're not good hitters. Like a lot of kids, like I know you play baseball. I don't, but like a lot of pitchers don't even at the high school level, even in middle school, don't even hit anymore. At least in like kids who are like school, top prospects and like legit.
Definitely
like
not. Yeah.
Like who was the top like pitching prospect this past year? I forgot, but you'd expect he's not hitting in high school. Like you're a pitcher or you're a hitter. It's like asking a quarterback to play cornerback. It's stupid, man. Just because it rhymes kinda doesn't mean you can do it.
Put them there. Doesn't mean they're gonna succeed.
Yeah. Unless you're Taysom Hill, then you can play anywhere. Whatever. This is a baseball channel. We'll keep it to baseball. But other Mets updates. Steve Cohen got approved by the owners, but it's not 100% official. I believe there's another vote happening, and of course, Mayor Bill de Blasio, there's talks that he could possibly reject it, which I don't see happening. I saw First Take talking about it, which they finally decided to talk about baseball. I cannot agree less with them. They talking about how they wanted the team. They wanted A-Rod and J-Lo to get the team, which, like,
because they're big name people and they want to draw in the audience.
So they said because it's a woman and a minority, like, which that's great and all, like that's awesome. But the thing about like ownership versus like a coach or a general manager is that owners are there to stay. It's like a president versus a
Senate member,
justice, like a
justice,
like the Supreme Court justice is there for life, or they get voted out somehow. Like owners are there for forever. Like the Wilpons have been here for I think 25 years. Like they're not going anywhere, and you got to get the right guy. And Steve Cohen,
of course,
yes, he has done some sketchy stuff in the past. I'm not really going to go into detail about that because honestly, I don't even know what he's done. But I think that's what they were talking about there. But dude grew up a Mets fan. He's now the richest owner by far. It's actually kind of nuts how rich this guy is, and he wants to spend his money on the team. He said he wants to improve their analytics department drastically. And Steve Cohen, if you're listening, Steve Cohen, the one thing you need to spend your money on is my man Trevor Bauer. Now, he said,
no, don't.
On a live stream last night, a fan asked him, "What do you think about the Mets?" And he said he would like to go to the Mets. He just doesn't know if they're interested in him. Now,
would you ever play for the Mets and join that rotation? I sure would. I don't know if they're interested in me or not, but I got nothing against playing for the Mets.
Obviously, you can't, that doesn't mean everything. He's been trolling people on Twitter, which I found hilarious. My friend from Toronto, who's a Blue Jays fan, fell for it. He's like, "Yo, we're gonna get Trevor Bauer, man." Like, okay, slow down. But I don't see him going to Toronto unless they, he secures the bag there. But
I could see him going there.
Yeah,
I could definitely see
momentum
it.
goes international.
It's true. Very true.
Yeah.
Like,
but,
that's a low-key, very underrated fit for Bauer.
no, it definitely is, and he would without a doubt be the ace, and that'd be a solid rotation. You got him,
Hyun-Jin Ryu and Bauer?
and then Nate Pearson's going to be a stud eventually.
Hopefully,
was a bit
as long
rough.
as he stays off the injured list.
Yeah, it's rookie year. He had some control issues, but he's got great stuff. I think he's gonna be good eventually. And then who you got? Tanner Roark he was on a 2-year deal, I think. Who else they got? Shoemaker. Some other guy. They're gonna find ways to improve their
just rotation. A bunch of like a bit below average starters.
Yeah,
they Blue Jays, need another solid pitcher.
Yeah. I think the Blue Jays are kind of they're not a bad team, but they wouldn't be a playoffs without the extended format, at least.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, probably.
They remind me of like
the
an
Yankees wouldn't have made
the
playoffs without the Yankees wouldn't have made the playoffs without the expanded format. I found that out the other day. It's kind of funny, but
the Mets wouldn't have made it without the playoff. The 16-team playoff.
We didn't make it anyways, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I've never said that they would have, but I think the Blue Jays and Mariners are the two teams with the brightest futures that aren't great right now, dude. You know what the Mariners outfield's going to be eventually?
Got
4
Kyle
guys.
Lewis.
Kyle Lewis, Jared Kelenic. I'm not talking about it. Julio Rodriguez and Taylor Trammell. Like,
oh my god.
Yeah, and then Evan White in the infield. Shed Long.
He doesn't
not great. JB Crawford not great, but
I know. Ooh, I think JP Crawford's going to be a stud.
No, I'm going to talk about him later when we get to
the Gold Glove voting.
Yep, we're going to talk Gold Glove later, but they have a bright future for sure. So also his agent, there's a segment. Did you watch this new video on Momentum, one of his vlogs? His agent was like talked about like the fans, like the teams she likes his fit. She said he really likes she likes the Mets.
Mets really love you, that fan base.
She said she doesn't like the Braves fans, so that made me happy.
I have mixed feelings on the Braves fan base right now.
But yeah, Trevor Bauer, Stevie, get it done, man. Another guy, get it done. I'm not crazy. We could bring this guy back, but he called out your team, Marcus Stroman. What are your thoughts on what he had to say?
Personally, I really like Marcus Stroman as a pitcher, and I wanted him to pitch for the Yankees. I can see that he isn't really feeling the same way now, but it's the same thing with Adam Ottavino. I didn't freak out after he said he'd strike out Babe a million times. I understand that, like, there are quite a few pitchers in the Yankees organization that could easily be replaced by Stroman. Obviously, it's a very cocky thing to say, but I kind of agree with him on it.
Actually, I saw stat comparison. They were talking about his FIP and stuff. I think Marcus Stroman could be a really good pitcher. Like, he's a good pitcher, but with good I think he just relies on good defense behind him, which
that's why I thought the trade to the Mets was quite possibly the worst move of the year in 2019. It made no sense.
I didn't love it. I thought it was cool to see them going for it, but at that point, it was kind of pointless giving up Anthony Kay and Simeon Woods Richardson when he was really struggling. When I found out we were going to have him the next year, I was cool with it just because you're now competing. But also, in 2019, we had one of the worst defensive I ever seen.
That is why I dislike the move so much.
What was it? Ramos is awful behind the plate, but that doesn't really affect.
Terrible.
Well, yeah. Wait, what am I saying? Of course that affects the pitcher. Ramos behind the plate, which Syndergaard and DeGrom didn't want to throw to. Pete, decent, not great at first base. Cano was really bad defensively in 18. Rosario was awful defensively in the first half of the year. He kind of got better. Todd Frazier, average. And then the outfield was a disaster. You had Conforto in center field, which he's a good really good right fielder.
Yeah, he's not bad.
He's an awful center fielder. He's lost in there. McNeil in right, decent. And then you had like Dom Smith and J.D. Davis and left. Yeah, that was ugly. Like Boomer Esiason, I think that's his last name. On Boomer and Gio on the Fan talked about how he was like this. This team has a record of of having guys out of position. He talked about the Luke Voigt trade, how he didn't have a spot in St. Louis, and he said, they're not going to throw him out in left field. And then he said, well, if they saw him how he's playing now, they probably wished they just throw him out in left field. But with that being said, yeah, Mets, I think their defense has improved a little bit with Dom Smith at first. Andres Gimenez is a really good shortstop.
Very good, yep.
I see future Gold Gloves with him, and I know it's kind of biased, but I really like his glove. And then J.D. Davis, really bad third baseman in
there's no future in that.
19. No, he was decent defensively last year. I'm not lying.
Really?
He was actually decent. He's not Matt Chapman over there, but he was fine. It's
He's
better
no
than having
Gio
him in left.
Urshela.
Yeah, we'll get to him. So yeah, Marcus Stroman calls out the Yankees. Maybe he's trying to get them to stay away. I guess maybe he doesn't want to be a Yankee. I don't really know.
I don't think what would be the intention of just telling a team to not even give them an offer? Because, you never know what could happen.
No, signing any of these big pitchers for the Yankees would be a huge mistake because you gave Garrett. Hear me out. You gave Garrett Cole all that money, and now you're a super young team, decently cheap. But what happens when Aaron Judge, Gleyber Torres, or John Carlos on a huge contract? When those guys come up for a contract, what are you going to do? Spending way too much money in free agency makes you become the Boston Red Sox, where you have to trade your best player away and then all the Red Sox. I know Carabas said he was going to come back, and Mookie Betts, and he just signed a 12-year deal, and now he's starting to play well in the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
poor Red Sox man. I texted a friend of mine who's a Red Sox fan. He was like, "Don't remind me, man." You're definitely glad he's gone.
Oh yeah, definitely. I do love his energy though.
Oh, yeah.
He is a very fun ball player, and he brings life to the game.
CC said that he's the best player in baseball. Now that the other guy in LA and the other LA team, he might have something to say for that. But I think that's a good segue. Or is there any Yankees news? Anything significant?
Higashioka might be starting the 2021 season, and I'm still undecided as to whether I am extremely happy or extremely mad about that.
I would sign James McCann if I were you, unless the Mets get him, because JT Realmuto said he wants a stupid contract. Which
I'm not. I don't want JT.
We already got Francisco Alvarez in the farm, but he's not going to be up for another 2 or 3 years. So McCann's a really good catcher, which so he can kind of fill in for that time until he's up. Which but Realmuto, I'd love to have him. It's just not for that contract. Yeah. Especially towards the end, you're gonna have to play him. If he can't catch anymore when he gets really old, you're gonna have to play him at third base or DH, which is
first.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Joe Mauer.
I meant first base, not third base. I meant first base or DH, which is positions that we have locked down. So
yeah, this would be like a Pujols situation.
Yeah, I'm worried about that. So yeah, maybe roll with Higashioka. I don't know if there's any other free agent catchers that are any good. I'm guessing you trade Gary or maybe play him a bit, sell him when his stock's high, kind of try to get some good at bats and then sell him at the trade deadline, or keep him as a backup catcher or something. You don't want a 40-year-old Eric Kratz back there as your primary backup catcher.
He wasn't terrible last year.
No, he wasn't, but he's 40 years old.
He's a nice presence in the clubhouse.
Dude wore a headband. He's bald and he wore a headband. I don't get it.
Yeah, I saw it the first time I saw that. I double took. I was so confused.
Yeah, no. All right, so MLB news. This kind of affects me. Josh Harrison signs with the Nats for $1 million with incentives. Nats have some. Yeah, he was really good scrappy player. High average, ton of stolen bases, and Pittsburgh, went to Detroit, was awful, got released, signed with Philly, released, went to Washington, and it was pretty decent. Hit 2 home runs against the Mets. he's a decent player. More of utility. The Nats have so much work to do offensively, man. Their
Definitely.
drop off was like losing Rendon was just
Too much.
Yeah, way too much. There's a chance they might trade Max Scherzer. I don't think you can't go full rebuild with them because you're not gonna trade. Well, Soto and Turner are young enough by the time they're good again, but like I don't know who's gonna take on Patrick Corbin's contract, and he's a decent pitcher. And then Strasburg's
he was great in 2019.
Yeah,
outstanding.
And 18 with the Diamondbacks. He had a really good year. Yeah. But not great last year. Strasburg's an elite pitcher except for injuries. Like I think if he didn't get so injured, this is kind of a hot take. He'd be I think he might have be stuff wise and talent wise, he might be the second best pitcher in the game. I know that's a bit of a hot take, but dude, how he pitched in the World Series, dude, besides that one inning, maybe not second best. I think Cole is a little more talented than him, maybe third. Like,
who's this Cole guy?
And this is coming from a Mets fan. I hate the Nats, but I'm a big Strasburg fan. He's just really fun to watch pitch. Just seeing him in the World Series was phenomenal. Just he's had to face so much adversity with all the injuries. He couldn't pitch in the playoffs or anything. So, Harrison. They need desperate help in the infield. They have Asdrubal Cabrera, who I love. He's a former Met.
He's still good. He's still good.
Starlin Castro, but these aren't guys that are going to blow you away. Eric Thames, Zimmerman opted out. I'm pretty sure.
He did.
Maybe Keyboom makes a better impact next year, and that's your third baseman.
That's why you can't full on tank right there because as you said, Turner and Soto, but also Keyboom.
Well, I'm in baseball. I'm
franchise player.
I'm against
the tank.
Yeah, the tank and rebuilding in baseball. In football, it's completely different. Like if you suck, just tank for a good draft pick. Obviously, my New York Jets are definitely doing that right now. I think they have such a great core. They have like a 3-headed monster in their rotation. Bullpen's not good, but offense was terrible last year. But you just get a few pieces here and there. Victor Robles, hopefully he turns into a pretty good player.
Of course, Victor Robles.
Stud defensively, just didn't hit well last year. But he's a decent.
His battle
player.
Come along.
Yeah, I agree.
He's very young.
Yeah, he's super young. Soto's super young. Hopefully they do go full rebuild and trade him because I don't think there's a hitter in baseball who I fear more than when he comes up to play. He has so much confidence.
That presence.
He's just such a good eye. He's almost like a younger, Joey Votto with that eye at the plate. It's nuts.
Joey Votto with 60 home run potential.
Yeah, big time. All right, so we're going to segue into the World Series. So I think so far it's been a really good World Series. I saw stuff about going position by position, see who's a better team. But by going position by position, obviously the Dodgers are the better team, but that's not how the Rays play. They play the matchups. You got platoons everywhere, Brasso and Choi, who Brasso might be my favorite player on the Rays now, considering what he did to the Yankees.
He might be my least favorite player in baseball. I hate him with a passion.
Brasso, I love you, man. The fact that he's undrafted when there were 40 rounds, that's nuts. They have Brasso and Choi and Lau is kind of their primary second baseman, which holy crap was he good last night. He came out of a huge slump.
Yeah.
Brandon Lau was phenomenal last night. 2 dingers, both opposite field. Blake Snell absolutely shoved. He was great.
Yeah, he was when Lau was first hit, 4th, 5th inning?
I think 5th inning, yeah.
5th inning, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I think he gave up 2 runs, something
in the
like
5th,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, and then Joey Wendell had a really good game, good defensive play, and had a big double. Kiermaier in game 1 hit a home run.
I don't like Kiermaier.
Oh, you don't? I was on the phone with my friend who's a Dodgers fan. I told him I had it right. I was a little ahead of him, and I was like, ha ha. He's like, what happened? He's like, oh, come on. But he's not like a baseball nerd like we are. But I was like, dude, this dude's a crap hitter. Like, you just gave up a home run at this dude.
Yeah,
But
that's why I hate him so much, because he always tends to hit super well against the Yankees for some
yeah.
reason. No, he always sucks, but then once there's like a person on second or third, he ends up hitting a grand slam without a runner on first, but for some reason he just scores 10 runs on every single swing he takes, and it makes me so upset, like with a passion.
Yikes. And then and Dodgers side, it was really nice to see Kershaw pitch well, because in the playoffs he's not good, but he was really good. Corey Seager's been incredible. He might be a top 5 shortstop, honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
Will Smith, really good. Cody Bellinger, obviously really good. Mookie Betts, we talked about him earlier.
Betts.
Yeah, Chris Taylor, he's been doing a lot for them. So an interesting thing I saw was, Dave Roberts, I think he's a solid manager, but what the hell are you doing in the 9th inning pinch hitting Jock Peterson for Austin Barnes? Now, I know he's hitting like 370, like something crazy like that in the playoffs, but the dude's not a good hitter. Like, he's a defensive catcher. He's Clayton Kershaw's catcher. I guess he's like a good backup catcher hitting wise. But Jock Peterson's like, he didn't have a great year this year, but I just didn't understand.
You got what you asked for out of Peterson. Just like a lot of pop versus righties with a good eye, and that's really all he has. With okay defense, his defense is average. Yeah, but that's what he got.
Yeah, so I didn't get that decision. He knows a lot more than I do. Obviously, he's a manager for a reason.
He should.
Yeah, thank God. All right, so now we are going to go to prediction time. Today, the Gold Gloves, the Rawlings Gold Gloves, were announced on Twitter, I think, and then MLB just posted all of them on their website. Yeah. So I have it pulled up right here. I'll have the graphic up on the screen. So starting in the American League with the pitchers, we have Griffin Canning of the Angels, Kenta Maeda of the Twins, and Mr. COVID Boy himself, Zach Plesac of the Indians. I tried to rewatch the video he posted. I was like, what did the dude have to say? I'm like, this dude's a freaking idiot. Like, he's a good pitcher, but my God, like, I'm surprised he isn't there. They traded Clev for it, and then the year before traded Bauer after chucking a ball up, over the wall in center field. But with pitchers, like, there's not really any defensive stats or anything. I picked Kenta Maeda just because I think I saw a couple of good plays from him this year. It's either him or Plesac. I've never there's a YouTuber I watch. You might watch him. His name's Fuzzy. He does
I do watch Fuzzy,
daily MLB recaps, and he does all the web gems and stuff. And I saw like a couple Kenta Maeda or Zach Plesac plays. So I think it's gonna go to one of them or two. I went Kenta Maeda. Who'd you go with?
I went with Zach Plesac, based on another video I watched by Stark Raving Sports, if I'm correct.
Ooh, I love Stark Raving Sports.
Yeah, it was all about
the art
Zach
of the
Plesac. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That is. I don't really like looking at pitcher defensive stats because I
don't know where you can
they're
find
stupid.
Them. Where do you? A pitcher has 0 defensive run saves. Yeah, no shit, they have 0 defensive
Yeah, exactly. They're not supposed to.
They're not supposed to. There's not supposed to be runners on base for them to save.
Exactly.
All right, so catcher, we have Yasmani Grandal, James McCann, Roberto Perez. Roberto Perez won it last year. Obviously, Grandal and James McCann are on the same team. I went with Perez, kind of, the fact that McCann and Grandal split time, I thought was kind of just like, I feel like because
very
Perez,
big factor.
Yeah, because Perez caught so much more, and he won it the year before. I think these aren't necessarily who I think should win. It's a mix of that and just a prediction who I think will win. But I have Roberto Perez, who people were calling a top 10 catcher before this year, and I'm like, just you wait. Dude's he had a OPS plus below 100, which means you're a below average hitter, guys. Like there's a guy I watch on YouTube who actually I like a lot, but I guess he values catcher defense, which catcher is the most important position to have good defense, but
Obviously.
like that doesn't make you a top 10 catcher, which by the way, guys, we recorded a top 10 catcher video episode, which we're going to release kind of when all the World Series stuff is done with. Just
off season.
We off season. We have, more time relevant stuff to talk about. So, it'll be a bit outdated, I guess, but maybe I'll hop in, just say, hey guys, this is kind of late, but Roberto Perez for me. How about you?
I also went with Roberto Perez. As you said, very shortened season. Grandal and McCann split time. And while they were both outstanding defensively, Perez just accumulation of games. And, obviously he did win it last year, obviously. But, just overall, it's accumulation. DRS is an accumulative stat. So is pitch framing and cost stealings are also cumulative.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't speak right now. Oh my god.
I can't.
Yeah,
even say
there we
it
go.
either. Jeez. All right.
So,
first base, we have Yuli Gurriel of the Astros. I had to.
Of course.
Matt Olson of the Athletics and Evan White of the Mariners. I went with Olson. He's probably the best defensive first baseman in the league. He won it last year. There seems to not be a ton of parity when it comes to Gold Gloves. It seems like the same dudes win it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So and he's a phenomenal defensive first baseman. So I went with Olson. I didn't really look at his stats, but I've seen some of his plays this year compared to the other guys. I've never really thought about Yuli Gurriel as a great defensive first baseman.
I never even considered him a good defender.
Maybe he made improvements. There's a guy who's coming up who I've considered an awful defender who's somehow on this. I guess he had a good defensive year. We'll get to him in a sec. Man, I do a ton of foreshadowing. Jeez. How about you? Who do you have for first base?
Matt Olson. No discussion. That's it. Matt Olson.
All right, second base. There are three guys here. This one was kind of tough. Four guys here. That's what I meant. Cesar Hernandez of the Indians, Nicky Lopez of the Royals, Danny Mendick of the White Sox, and Jonathan Scope of the Tigers. I crossed off Danny Mendick just because he didn't play as much second base as the other guys. He had what's his name? The dude who hits like a ton of what's his name? Nick. He was a top prospect, a first round pick.
Oh, Nick Madrigal.
Yep, Madrigal, who I'm a big fan of. I crossed him off. I think Scope was injured. No, I don't think so. I went with Cesar. I went with Cesar Hernandez. I actually looked at the stats for this one. He had a higher outs above average, I believe, than the other guys. I think when I made my predictions, Nicky Lopez wasn't on here. I guess he was a throwaway, but I don't really think of these guys as like elite defenders. I'm surprised LeMahieu isn't on here.
I think it's because LeMahieu split more time between first and third.
Right. Yeah.
So didn't just get enough games this second, which is very tragic. But
it
is what it is.
Wait, who's on? Oh yeah, what's his name? The guy who won it last year. Well, he didn't really play much. Yolmer Sanchez. He went to the Giants and then back to the White Sox, but he's not really playing much. So I went with Cesar Hernandez just because he's kind of the more well-known player. It's kind of tough here. Who did you say?
I immediately, crossed off Jonathan Scope because defensively, in the past, he's just never really
I've never really thought of him as much of a defender.
He's been solid in years past, but he's never been elite.
Yeah, this is elite. This is Gold Glove here,
Yeah, exactly. The same thing. That was my same thinking with Cesar Hernandez. He's always been solid, but never elite.
I don't think of any of these guys as elite second basemen.
Mm-hmm. I went with Nicky Lopez, however, because he came up as a defensive player. He's not really known for his bat, and
right.
That's how he is still right now. So
I think I'll switch mine. I think I'll switch to Nicky Lopez just because he wasn't on here when I made my original prediction. So
look at that.
Yeah, convincing. But hey, he took Whit Merrifield's spot at second base, so that has to mean something. All right.
Yeah, definitely.
Third base. This is pissing me off. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa of the Rangers, who I'm pretty sure was like a catcher before this year, and I think he played more.
He's great defensively, though.
Yeah, I know.
He really is.
catcher or third base? I think
Third
he played a lot
base.
of shortstop too this year. I don't know.
He
I don't
sucked
know.
at catcher, but he could play third really
Yeah.
well.
I don't know how I had heard of this guy, but somehow I had heard about this guy before. Maybe because I follow all the most of the MLB teams, the ones I don't hate on Instagram, and your stories, you see their lineups and stuff. So I'd always see his name come up. Yohan Moncada of the White Sox and your boy Gio Urshela of the Yankees.
Who?
I know. Okay, he's good. I'll admit he's a good player. And he's my pick too. And I'm guessing he's your pick too, right?
How did you know?
Yeah, no. This dude makes web gems. Like,
yeah.
No doubt about it.
Last year, like, he was still making those web gems, but he also made a lot of errors, which you wouldn't expect, and so defensive runs saved didn't really love him. But this year, in a 60-game season, he saved 6 defensive runs, which is incredible. He was on pace for around 20 on the year.
Yeah.
That is platinum glove right there.
I don't know about that, but
20 defensive runs saved,
yeah,
yes, sir.
We'll see when that comes out. But my issue with this is I know he was injured for part of the year, and a lot of people know. I'm a Mets fan, but my favorite non-Met is Matt Chapman, just because I grew up loving David Wright, and I would always be fascinated by his defense when I was young. And so Matt Chapman kind of reminds. Now he's a much better defender than David Wright. He kind of
just a bit.
Yeah, he might be he's that I've ever seen play, like best defensive third baseman that I've ever seen play. And I know he was hurt towards the end of the year, but I think he should be on here. Like,
he missed quite a few games. It wasn't just towards the end of the year. It was the second half.
Well, maybe you give him the 4th spot or something. I don't know. Just like,
well, then he would win it just because it's Matt Chapman.
Yeah,
I'm just very against the entire Matt Chapman in the running this year because I know this is Gio's only chance at winning it, and I really need him to get it here.
This is everyone's only chance of winning
exactly.
it. We were talking about there's never parity for Gold Gloves. Third base is the definition of that, and nationally too. So shortstop, Carlos Correa of the Astros. All right, I'll stop doing that. J.P. Crawford of the Mariners, who we talked about earlier, and Nico Goodrum of the Tigers. I crossed Nico Goodrum off this list because I'm pretty sure I think he played first base too. I think he played other positions.
He played all over the place.
Yeah, I think with a 60-game season, the guys who are going to be playing their position every day have the better shot at the Gold Glove. Both really good, J.B. Crawford and Carlos Correa. I went with Crawford. Correa's got a great arm.
Perhaps the best in the game from the shortstop position.
From shortstop, definitely. I wouldn't say best arm in the game. There's actually there's someone you maybe have never heard of. Brett Phillips. He's on the Rays now.
Oh, of course.
Look up when he was in Milwaukee.
Yeah,
look up
Brett
some
Phillips.
of his throws. Absurd. Yeah, and that's coming from the outfield too. So, but I went with J.P. Crawford. He's more of a defensive shortstop, definitely has some hitting potential. I see him winning it. How about you?
I also went with Crawford because, as you said, Goodrum didn't play, his entire game at short. And plus, did you see the play that Crawford made in 2019?
Yeah.
MLB ranked it number 6, but in reality, that was number 1, and there is no discussion. That was the greatest play I think I have ever seen.
Here, I gotta watch it right now. I gotta watch it right now, and I'll have it flashing on the screen.
So satisfying! Oh my god!
I'll have it up on the scene. J.P. Crawford, what throw was the first thing that came up? I know it was a crazy jump throw. Oh wait, this is some compilation.
It's probably the first one.
Yeah, let's hope. And they're giving me an ad, but say some more stuff about. This is great podcasting. Say some more stuff about J.P. Crawford.
All right, so earlier on today, I was talking about how I feel like he has a high hitting ceiling, and that's because, through his entire major league career, his on-base percentage compared to his batting average has been outstanding. He walks a lot.
Oh my gosh. Wait, is this the one against it's against Detroit? Rowan Elias is pitching. I don't know if you know that much, but basically I'll describe it. Ball hit in the hole, goes a huge hop, falls down in the outfield grass, jumps up, throws without even being in platform.
Yeah, and he's like throwing he's laying down and
Yep.
then jumps up
They're
from
wearing the teal
laying down.
jerseys. I'm guessing this is it.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah, this is one of the best shortstop plays I've ever seen. So that's probably it. So now that I've gotten to see this, the J.P. Crawford talk is over. Left field, I think they're going to give it to Alex Gordon just because he's retiring.
Yep,
he's
exactly
phenomenal defensively, but it's not just he's retiring. He's a great defender still.
Of course.
The fact that he's like 36, 37, and he's still an elite outfielder, like that's crazy. And the other guys, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. of the Blue Jays, and Kyle Tucker of the Astros. No bang for you because you weren't on the team in 17. I actually like you. Gurriel Jr., brother of Yuli Gurriel, but
bad one.
Yeah, this is the good Gurriel. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other guys really good defensively. I actually like Lourdes Gurriel's glove a lot. He made some good plays against the Mets when we went up to Buffalo to play them.
I know he split time with Short in center and second during 2019. I'm not so sure if he did during 2020. Yeah.
He plays the infield?
He plays all over. His main position was a shortstop up until last year.
Oh, really?
Maybe even this year.
I don't know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think Alex Gordon, which I'm guessing is your pick too.
Definitely. There's no way they're not giving it to him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He won it last year too. I think he won it the year before, probably the year before that, and the year before that. Like left field is, besides Alex Gordon, is usually where you put your second best outfielder. Like that tends to be the case sometimes. Like,
wait, no, you put your worst defensive outfielder in left.
That's what I meant. You put your second best corner outfielder in left. I misspoke. Except for the Blue Jays, Teoscar's not as good defensively, nowhere near as good defensively as Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Josh Reddick is miles better defensively than – actually, not miles better. He's just a phenomenal right fielder, as much as I hate him. Awful hitter, though. Kyle Tucker, he is left fielder, but I think he'll be the right fielder of the future after this year because they're not bringing Reddick back. They might have to though. If Springer walks, like,
what's Reddick gonna do? He's probably gonna be below replacement level next year because he's got no pop whatsoever. It would be better if they just called somebody up
or signed someone. I don't know who wants to go to the Astros anymore, man. Like,
no one.
You kind of ruin your reputation. Yeah, unless you're getting like piles of cash. But even then, like, do you think Trevor Bauer would go to the Astros if they were paying like $5 million more than the next team?
That's actually a really good question.
I don't think so because he's known as the anti-Astros guy.
Exactly, but still, $5 million is a lot of money.
Not when you're making $200 million. Not when your contract's like 7 years, 200. Like,
I was thinking like $5 million per year or something.
I don't know if he'd do it, man, because he's gonna, it's just gonna seem hypocritical. But anyways, this one was tough. Center field, Byron Buxton of the Twins, Ramon Laureano, who he might actually have the best arm in baseball, of the A's, Luis Robert of the White Sox. Ramon Laureano's he's the master of the web gem, but he definitely lacks consistency in center.
Definitely.
So I crossed him off. I went with Byron Buxton. He's the fastest dude I've ever seen. It's really close between him and
Wait a minute there. Did you just say that Byron Buxton was the fastest?
No.
Have you ever heard of a man named Tim LeCastro?
He actually played a lot more after they traded Starling Marte, or Marte. Pronunciations, am I right? But I went with Byron Buxton. It's between him and Robert, but I should probably look at the stats for this. But I'm looking at this Robert catch against the Royals right now on the website, which is pretty sweet. But it's weird not seeing Kevin Kiermaier or Jackie Bradley here, which they're usually the
Jackie Bradley reminds me of a lot of Ramon Laureano.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're
nowhere near the
very
hitter he
similar.
is.
Oh, definitely not.
But Byron, I think this like you said with Matt Chapman, this is like the one chance these guys are gonna get, which I don't know if Kevin Kiermaier had a down year in the outfield or anything, but I'm surprised he's not on here. But I went Byron Buxton. How about you?
I went with Luis Robert or Robert. I think it was originally like people were saying Robert, but then people, changed it to Robert. Something happened.
Something like that.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? I went with him because he led all 3 in outs above average with 7 in 60 games.
Oh, wow.
Which is insane.
I should have looked at the stats. My bad.
You're good. Don't worry.
It just another thing with Buxton is that, like, I've noticed, like, I know when the Mets played them in, which I, like, obviously you're probably like, oh, well, you all know stuff when the Mets play them. Okay, that's not only, but I'm saying for an example, when I watch the full game, like, I'm not out here watching Twins games, even though that is our city's minor league team, which I watch Twins AAA games. Well, not anymore because the Corona, but their outfield defense fell apart when Byron Buxton wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of, I don't know if that's a great reason why, but I think it's between them two. It's super close. So
yeah,
right field, Clint Frazier for the Yankees, which this year, no, maybe this year. You can tell me, how is his defense in right this year?
It was actually not bad.
But he didn't play right the whole year. Like when Judge was playing there, like that's another thing. In a 60-game schedule, 60-game season, you have to be playing that one position like the majority of the time, if not the whole time.
That's very true.
So funny story. I saw him when last year he got sent down and Scolt, what was it? Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders AAA team was playing our Rochester Red Wings, and he was playing left and he got the ball lost in the sun, and I thought it was funny, and I was like, this is why I screamed, this is why the Yankees set you down, minor leagues. Everyone there's a bunch of old people there just chirping. I thought it was hilarious. That was the first time I ever saw.
You got him good.
Yeah, that was I was on the first baseline, so there's no way he's hearing me, but that was my first time I saw our Rochester Red Wings win a game. So they hit a grand slam that game. It was pretty sweet.
Oh,
and
cool.
No one in the park seemed to care. Like minor league baseball, if you've ever been to a minor league baseball, there's no reason to care. But I was like, woo, let's go. Like, I don't really care, but I'm like, I want to get excited because it's fun to get excited.
Yeah.
But, like, no one cared.
There's no real feelings. Yeah.
All right, moving on. Joey Gallo of the Rangers and Anthony Santander of the Orioles. I want Joey Gallo. He's a really good defensive outfielder, especially for like a bigger dude and like with a ton of power. You usually don't think amazing defense. He played some center field last year too, but and right, he had a really good year. How about you?
Yeah, he reminds me of Aaron Judge, just like complete unit out there and right, and he was my choice as well.
Yeah,
I love you, Frazier, but
no chance.
No. Maybe next year.
Moving on to the National League with the pitchers, we have Max Fried of the Braves, Kyle Hendricks of the Cubs, and Alec Mills of the Cubs. I went with Max Fried just because he might have the best pickoff move other than Plesac in the game, especially from a lefty. He has a really good pickoff move, so I guess that's a reason to go. I don't know where to find pitcher defensive highlights.
And they're not really important.
Yeah. Like, it matters, but to an extent, like, like who cares, honestly?
Exactly.
So who's your pick?
I also went with Max Fried, despite the fact that I love Kyle Hendricks and his approach of pitching and all that.
Yeah.
Like you said, his pickoff move's disgusting, and he's somehow managed to save 3 defensive runs in.
Where do you find this? How do you find pitcher DRS?
It's up there. It's just hard to find. I totally agree with you.
Baseball Reference or Savant?
Yeah, I use Baseball Reference.
All right, cool. I actually looked at some of the for this next one, I looked at some of the frame stuff on. I looked at the Statcast stuff on
Ooh.
Savant. I'm getting on
Love
your
to
level,
see
man.
it. All right.
Yeah. All right.
right.
So, National League catchers, we have Tucker Barnhart of the Reds, Wilson Contreras of the Cubs, and Jacob Stallings of the Pirates. Tucker Barnhart, he's won a Gold Glove before, but he split time with Kirk Casale this year, so bye-bye. I went with Wilson Contreras because I looked up his framing, and before this year he wasn't an elite framer, but I think he had a 75% or something higher than that. I think that's good. I don't really know too much
75.
about it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But
It's pretty good.
missile arm, great pickoff moves at the catcher position. I went with Wilson Contreras, who I know you absolutely love. Just kidding.
No, I just because I didn't put him in my top 10 catchers doesn't mean I don't like him. I love his back picks.
Yeah. Tune into our top 10 catchers whenever that comes out in eternity when we have nothing to talk about, when everyone signs, and that's I think when we'll do it. But yeah, who's your pick? Wilson Contreras or?
No, I went with Tucker Barnhart.
Fair.
I was very, very, confused when I first saw Contreras up here because I did not realize he could actually field the ball.
Yeah.
Besides the back picks, the back picks are amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but Tucker Barnhart saved 9 defensive runs. That's enough for me.
Yeah. So first base, Brandon Belt of the Giants, Paul Goldschmidt of the Cardinals, and Anthony Rizzo of the Cubs. Rizzo won it last year. I went with Paul Goldschmidt. He had a higher outs above average than Rizzo. I think I didn't check on Belt, but from the eye test too, Rizzo's probably the second, other than Olsen. He's probably I'm pretty sure he's won a platinum glove at first base, which is nuts. But
yeah,
I went with Goldschmidt. How about you?
I went with let me pull it up. My bad. Thing kind of glitched out for me right there. I went with where is it? Yeah, I was also with Goldschmidt because I love Rizzo. He's quite possibly the most fun player in baseball. However,
really,
I actually used the eye test here,
Ooh.
And Belt and Goldschmidt both passed the eye test very well. Goldschmidt even more so than Belt. So first base doesn't really matter in my opinion when it comes to defense.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you have a great defensive first baseman, it is a very nice thing to have.
Yeah, it's just like if you don't have great defense, it's not the biggest deal in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, first base, as long as the guy can scoop the ball,
catch the ball,
scoop. Yeah, fielding's important, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. So then, second base, Adam Frazier of the Pirates, Nico Horner of the Cubs, Colton Wong of the Cardinals. Nico Horner, goodbye, just because Kipnis played a lot of second base for the Cubs this year. I went with Colton Wong just because he won it last year, and he's kind of just known as a dude who makes a ton of flashy plays. Adam Frazier, he's really good defensively too, but I just went with Colton Wong. His web gem that I think of actually was in spring training this year, but
the double play.
Yeah, maybe I don't know if the baseball writers are looking into that, but or whoever votes for this, but that kind of says everything.
Yeah,
but
the instincts to be able to do that, to not because it wasn't your typical glove flip, it was off the very side of the glove.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah, it was nuts. So I'm guessing he's your pick too.
He is also my pick, but as you also said, I agree with you completely on this section. Frazier needs to, get the attention that he deserves, as he did record 6 outs above average last year.
He's a solid ball player. He didn't hit as well as he did, and no one cares about the Pirates. They're the most relevant team in the league by a mile.
Glasnow?
Glasnow, Cole, Meadows. Morton. Who else?
No, Morton was good with them. I'm pretty sure.
True. But if he was with them now, I gotta think else. McCutcheon, but obviously not anymore. He's a good player, but obviously
he's still solid.
Best years with the Pirates. Who else if they traded who just broke out with another team?
Ooh.
Like Cole is just like
the big name.
Yeah, like poor Pirates. But
you also got Starling Marte, but you can definitely say that he was at his prime
he was
with the
best
Pirates.
With the Pirates, yeah. Which I'm pretty sure the Marlins are picking up his option, which great. But
I feel bad for him. He has to play in that godforsaken ballpark.
I love that ballpark. What are you talking about? It's cool.
What the hell is?
It's cool.
So ugly.
They gotta bring back the statue. That thing was dope. It's better than Yankee Stadium. Thing's got some character to it.
I do agree with that. It does have quite the character. It's just
it's
not the right kind of
Miami
character.
Defined. All right, speaking of Miami, third base, Brian Anderson, Marlins, Nolan Arenado, Rockies, Manny Machado, Pirates, obviously Nolan Arenado, no question, moving on. I'm just kidding.
Yep.
But yeah, basically. Shortstop, which Machado, great defender, but when you sign with the
15 defensive runs saved.
Manny, when you signed with the Padres, you're signing there for the money, not for the Gold Gloves, because you don't have a shot. And Arenado and Matt Chapman went to the same high school, so I feel bad for all the guys who hit the ball to the left side of the infield.
One day it's Arenado, the next day it's Chapman.
No, one of them would play shortstop, and the other one would play for third.
Obviously.
Yeah. Speaking of shortstop, Javier Baez of the Cubs, Miguel Rojas of the Marlins, and Dansby Swanson of the Braves. I went with Dansby Swanson. He had a really good year this year. He's always been kind of a really good glove guy, especially I watch him a ton. From the eye test, he's just a really good defender. He wasn't a great hitter until this year. I actually was talking with my neighbor's a Braves fan, and I was like, yeah, it might be time to move on. You know, he's first overall pick, kind of a bust. And this year he's actually a really solid ball player. So I went with Dansby Swanson. I think Javi Baez will win it just because he's the flashy name. And he makes all
whoa.
What?
Oh, never mind. My bad.
No, because
yeah, you're right.
He makes all like the tags and like, you know, he's like on social media. They're like, oh, El Mago makes the play.
Yeah, I just got really mad that because I was thinking like out of instinct that Tatis was a nominee.
Oh, why wasn't he?
I'm extremely mad that he wasn't because I looked at the leaderboards, you know, and he had more defensive runs or outs above average than Baez, who was like undoubtedly the best shortstop last year. So I am very mad at the BBWA.
Where's Trevor's Story?
Where is Trevor Story?
Trevor Story's a really good defender, man.
No disrespect
Miguel
to
Rojas
isn't a bad.
No, I think Swanson deserves to be on here. He's a really good shortstop. But Tatis should be on here. Story should be on here. I think Baez, I think he's on here because he's a really good shortstop, no doubt. But part of it is just flashiness.
Mm-hmm.
But who won the Gold Glove last year?
Baez. He was the best shortstop and perhaps fielder in baseball.
Wait, he won it? No, I thought it was. I know it was Lindor and.
Lindor's in the AL.
Yeah, I know. And who was in the NL? Let me look up. 2019 Gold Glove winners. I would have sworn it wasn't Baez. It was I'm finding it right now. Say something.
What?
I'm trying to find
Don't tell me it's. Oh, I thought you were about to say Cesar Hernandez.
No, shortstop.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was so confused. He was in Philly last year, so I was wait, what?
Yeah, but he played second base.
Exactly, and he wasn't that good.
I scrolled too far. It was Nick Ahmed.
It was Nick Ahmed.
Well, he's a phenomenal defender. He just didn't hit this year.
Oh. Silly me. I was reading too many articles.
I forgot. I had a feeling. I kind of forgot he existed just because he wasn't on this list. No, he's a really good defender, but
obviously, definitely.
But yeah, he won it last year. I was trying to go through my head every position. I'm like, oh yeah, it was Colton Wong and who was it? Rizzo and Arenado, who's shortstop, Nick Ahmed. All right, left field, Shogo Akiyama of the Reds, Tyler O'Neill of the Cardinals, David Peralta of the D-backs. Shogo, he played a bit of center field too this year, but he played mainly left field. Peralta won it
Not
last
enough
year.
an arm.
I actually went with Tyler O'Neill. Like his
Mm-hmm.
sprint speed is nuts, which that's not everything.
Oof.
That's not everything. His speed isn't everything. Him and Bader out there is nuts. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I went with
Bader,
Tyler
O'Neill, and Wong.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Goldschmidt. Oh,
And
DeYoung.
Goldschmidt.
DeYoung.
DeYoung is also where's DeYoung
phenomenal
at?
defense. Yeah, dude. There's so many good defensive shortstops, especially in both leagues too. The fact that Andrelton Simmons was hurt this year, but like he's phenomenal. He's probably
On
the
a
best.
normal year.
Yeah, he's Ozzie Smith. Like I don't know. That's not even a hot take anymore.
Oh, definitely not.
So who's your
Thanks,
left field?
foolish baseball.
Oh yeah, who's your left field?
I also went with Tyler O'Neill because he just saved so many more defensive run saves than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And Peralta was great. He always has been great, but he just does not have enough of an arm for me.
Okay. So center field, we had Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Braves, Cody Bellinger of the Dodgers, and Trent Grisham of the Padres. Ronald Acuna, he played more right field, I believe, at least when the Mets played him. So goodbye. I went with Cody Bellinger. He won it in right last year. I think he's a phenomenal center fielder. The Dodgers actually have 3 center fielders in their outfield, like Pollock, Bellinger, and Betts. Like that's
a right fielder.
Yeah, but he's played center and played it very well in Boston.
Oh, well, he can play anywhere well.
Yeah, played second base too. But like obviously Pollock used to be a full-time center fielder, but Mookie Betts would play center field on literally any other team. Like if the Mets got him, he'd be playing center field. Mainly,
definitely.
Mainly because we have Brandon Nimmo.
Field.
Yeah, but I went with Cody Bellinger. How about you?
I went with Cody as well because I think
Grisham lets too many balls. He lets too many balls go by him.
Yeah, but I do think he's going to win it next year.
Oh, really?
That's a hot take. I understand, but
poor Brewers,
I got a feeling.
The guy ruins their game and then he leaves
and he rakes.
Yeah, and their whole team is now in Milwaukee and they're all doing great. But speaking of Mookie Betts in right field, we have Mookie Betts of the Dodgers. It's weird not seeing him in the AL this year.
Charlie
Blackmon. Since when is he a good defender?
What the hell?
Second worst arm in the league, maybe. To your boy Brett Gardner, and then Jason Hayward, who's obviously what? Gardner's arm is terrible.
Yeah, but it's not Blackmon level.
That's true.
That's what I thought.
Draft Nick Mark said it best. He's like, he can't hit the cutoff. It rolls in there. He said it like for both guys. But
that does happen a lot.
When is Blackmon a good defender? I don't know why he's here, but I guess he proved us wrong. And then Jason Hayward, who basically only is a glove. I went with Mookie Betts, best outfielder in the game. Maybe you could say Kevin Kiermaier. I would say best corner outfield, no question.
All right.
Don't give me all these stupid analytics about how Aaron Judge is so good. The dude never plays. I got ripped on Instagram on this some account posted who's a hot take. I said Aaron Judge is overrated, and everyone, no, he's not. He's just injury prone. I'm like, exactly. You're not a top 10 player in baseball if you don't play it that much. If you're crazy, talent wise, yes, but production wise, no. There's like, well, he had in 2017. I'm like, that was 3 years ago.
Oof, don't reference 2017.
Oh yeah,
he was hard to watch. He had so many home runs, but he struck out so much. It was hard to watch.
You know who hit more home runs? Well,
who played with the juiced ball?
And 7. You know who played in Yankee Stadium?
You know who played bat first position?
So, good hitter's a good hitter.
Below average defense.
53 is better than 52, Ben. Who had more protection in their lineup?
Okay, that's a good point. That's a good
Yeah.
point. I respect
You
that.
had a good point too, but
The 2017 Yankees did not have as much protection as you would think,
no,
however.
I know you had like Todd Frazier and.
Whereas the 2019 Mets,
No, I'm talking. It's 2019. Yeah, 2019. Yeah, but
they
like,
had
yeah, but like
it was
Van
pretty
Wagenen,
even.
manager Brody Van Wagenen, who was clearly basically the manager, just called into Callaway to make the decisions. Had like Todd Frazier playing every day and shit, and like
He was such a good manager.
awful.
Mickey Callaway.
Speaking of which, Yankees are holding on to Aaron Boone. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't like it. Get rid of him.
Yeah, no, he's terrible. He's a puppet. Like
Mhm.
Cashman's the. I don't know if Cashman's making
Cashman's
the
a
decisions.
genius. I
Cashman's
love
a genius. Cashman's a genius, man. Like the fact that his whole team is from trading two relievers that were in the World Series, Andrew Miller and Aroldis Chapman, and then they got Gleyber Torres and Clint Frazier, which is
Not
nuts.
to mention, they trade. No, wait. Did they even trade? They traded to the Blue Jays for Urshela for cash considerations.
Oh yeah, but he was a bum back then.
Obviously, but I mean, why would they trade for him, invite him to spring training, and give him a spot on the opening day lineup opening day roster?
He had
Unless
a spot on the opening day roster. I don't know, defense. Yeah, defense, because Andujar is useless out there.
Well, somebody's bat just doesn't come out of nowhere.
That's true.
There's a basis for everything.
You got to see something, yeah.
Exactly.
They got Giancarlo for peanuts. But also they're taking on a huge contract, so it makes sense.
Yeah. He's also he flat out raked this year. It's the same thing with Judge, except he can't field. It's so annoying.
Yeah, you give your long-term DH. That's what I don't want. Back to the DH conversation. I don't want the Mets to get a full-time DH. Like for me, I hate that. Like you play the field and you DH on your off days.
I like that.
Or you cycle guys in, or if there's a guy who can play the field, it's just there's guys who are better defenders, kind of like a Pete Alonso or like a JD Davis or Dom Smith or something on the Mets. They can play the outfield. They're not like Nelson Cruz who's blocking, which obviously he can't play the field anymore.
JD Martinez.
Yeah, JD Martinez. God damn it!
I was gonna say Charlie Blackmon, but I guess I can't anymore.
I just checked my fantasy team. God damn it. Anyways, no, fuck the Eagles. Fuck the Cowboys.
Fuck them.
Yep, they suck, man. That I guess we're getting off track with football, but man, that division is so bad. I don't know how much you follow football, but
I watch my Bills games.
Yep, you ready for Sunday? My Jets can get their asses blown. We getting that number one pick, man. We getting Trevor Lawrence.
All right. We don't need that number one pick.
I would take Trevor Lawrence over Josh Allen any day.
Are you kidding me? He has done very well this year.
Oh, he's been really good.
Yeah, even the game that we lost last Sunday against the Chiefs, he was still especially great. Early on, he was hitting guys. The ball was wet for one, but I don't want to make a silly excuse like that. He was still throwing spirals to his guys, and his guys were dropping them like flies. It was hard to watch.
See what Sam Darnold has to work with. My God. All right, back to baseball. I think that's the episode for today. World Series prediction going forward. Who do you think's going to win?
I'm going with the Dodgers.
Really? I like the Rays.
It's a very biased pick, obviously, because there's no team I can't stand more than the Rays right now.
Are they like the new Red Sox for you?
I actually never hated the Red Sox.
Oh, really?
Just because, to me, they were likable. I mean, Mookie is just so much fun. Endeavor.
There's players on division rivals that I like. It's just I hate the team.
Exactly. It's like
I said,
Carlos
Steven
Correa.
Strasburg.
I absolutely can't stand. Whereas Michael Brantley, well, obviously he wasn't on the 2017 Astros, so I can't really hate him. I really like Michael Brantley, but I hate Carlos Correa just because like they approach the scenario very differently.
I hate Carlos Correa. I was a big fan before the cheating stuff, and even before like when they were doing all their quote apologies, he actually had one that actually sounded genuine, and then he had that interview with Ken Rosenthal, and it just went downhill from there. Like CC Sabathia was like, bro, like when he was like, I know people didn't want us here, but we made it. We just won a playoff series. I'm like, you beat a team that hasn't won that's lost 16 consecutive playoff series, and your team didn't even have a damn winning record.
They didn't want to see us here, but I mean, here we are.
Yep, I wanted to see you guys get your asses stomped by the Rays. Well, they didn't
And
get
they
that.
almost
They made
beat
a
the
comeback. Yeah, they made a
Rays.
comeback. Dude, part of me was hoping for the Astros to make it just
to get
because
their
the
asses
amount of
whooped.
booze. No,
Yeah.
just the amount of, like, even though it's in Texas, like that's that's Rangers. That's like the fact there's fans there. Like there's tons of Dodgers fans flying in. Like it's not gonna be like all like it would probably be a ton of Astros fans too. So they'd probably be like a bunch of fights breaking out or something.
Probably. That's
But anyways,
another thing. Astros fans have handled the entire situation like the most poorly outside of Correa. Because they just like keep
Astros
making
fans?
excuses for it. Yeah.
Oh, they said every team's done it. I saw this one dude on it.
They just won't let
up. Was on.
It's just like your team cheated and got
shout
caught.
out to
Accept
Hum Baby
it.
Baseball. He had like an Astros fan post a video about this. He was like, "This meant more than a ring to us because of the hurricane." I'm like, "Yeah, that's what bums me out." And the fact that I wish the Astros had won that World Series without cheating.
Yeah.
Because the fact that their whole city went through a damn hurricane that year, like that doesn't justify.
They needed that.
Yeah, that was just so perfect. Like what Boston won with was it like the marathon shooting or something? Like Boston
way back
song,
when.
all that. Yeah, way back in the day. Like that's not a reason to justify them for cheating though.
And then the Yankees, after 9/11, they went on to win the World Series after the delayed start to the playoffs.
Right.
That's a unifying moment. That was a unifying Houston moment, and they blew it right out of the water.
Exactly. It doesn't count anymore. Clearly, no fan other than the Astros, even though the title's not vacated, it's vacated in our eyes. Like when you say, like who's the World Series winner of 2017? I say nobody. Who's the American League MVP? I say Aaron Judge, and I'm a Mets fan.
Thank you.
Like I saw this
statistically, he was still better.
Yeah, this one Astros heckler he was like, "Hey Jose, give Judge's MVP back." Here, I'll insert it here, but it was amazing.
Was that during spring training?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Some of those videos are incredible.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's all I got to say. Any last words?
No, I'm good.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. World Series will probably be over by then. We'll do our recap. We got a ton of stuff planned for the off season.
That's right.
A ton of news stuff, ton of predictions. Hot stove. I don't know if you want to do this. Because we only do our once a week podcast. I'm gonna want to do like individual videos, just when Mets make moves and stuff. Just a quick upload, nothing high quality production or anything.
Right.
Just something quick like that. Just so you'll get something besides the weekly podcast. We're still getting used to the doing stuff. Like we only have one upload. I actually plugged our channel on. There's a Jets YouTuber I watch who does a podcast, and he had a bunch of his viewers shamelessly promote their channels, and I was like,
oh really?
Yeah, he was cool with them doing it. So he actually liked it. He was like, oh, that like people were always like, hey man, he inspired me to do, which this guy inspired me to get into sports talk. But shout out to Matt O'Leary, any Jets fans. I was like he even said like he's like, oh, like guy was like, yeah, you got me to do my own channels. He was like, oh, that made my week because he does like voicemails and stuff. So that'll come out on Wednesday. Nice. So hopefully we get some viewers from that. Any of you Jets fans, go spam Ben that Bills suck, even though they don't, even though they do, because they just lost 2 in a row. But
I'll make sure to hit up the Dan Rourke YouTube comment section.
I can't stand that guy. Oh, I can't stand that guy. Neither can Michael K. Oh my God, Yankees Avenue, that kid.
Whoa, he actually talked about him?
Yeah, he like responded to him or something. Dude, I can't. Dan Rourke, you're probably a nice guy, but in no universe is Aaron Judge better than Freddie Freeman. He went through like I think he tried to compare him with Mookie Betts. Like he's going through all these players saying like he's the best player, not Mike Trout. Like at this point, like Mike Trout's so good that like
he's not,
it's like
he's not
it's like
comparable.
exactly
You don't
it's like
use him
he's
in
the best
comparisons
player
anymore.
Like whenever you hear someone saying like Mookie Betts, like I saw an interview with Carabas on Joe and Evan WFAN, Jared Carabas of Starting Nine Barstool. He was like Mookie Betts is the best player, not named Mike Trout. It's like yeah obviously. Like best center fielder, not named Mike Trout. Best Angel, not named Mike Trout. So
something about the Angels and home run hitting fish named people.
Oh right.
Tim
Salmon. Salmon? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's their little secret. They scope them out in like the prospect things. They just look for fish names. That's how they succeed. And that's why they never win anything, because they don't open up to anything else.
Oh, poor Angels, man. All right. Anyways, that's the episode for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
See ya.